Hey guys, it's Hink here, and so it's been about a month since I have been dabbling with vibrations, if you will, on a regular basis, okay? And so I wanted to bring to you some updates as far as some of the research that I've found and honestly what my thoughts have been on it thus far, because it's one of those kind of hot topic items. And unfortunately, I think the buzz is starting to die down a bit, but there's still quite a bit out there. So the first thing I want to address is some of the updates in data. And by data, I mean like scientific journals. And so the first thing I want to talk about is I do think your risk of injury is inherently increased by using vibration, but maybe not the way you think. There's something that's called the gate control theory. So let's say that this is my needle. And I was about to inject myself with a shot. If you take some sort of vibrating device, and a lot of Botox clinics will do this, and you press the vibrating device down first and it's just like bzzz, and then you inject with your shot, it is a decreased pain tolerance or a decreased pain level, basically. And so you can tolerate higher levels of pain because of basically the distraction from that vibration device. And so that's essentially what the gate control theory is. I'll read it for you. It suggests that non-painful stimuli such as vibrations can interfere with pain signals transmitted to the brain. Why that matters is because if you have some sort of stretching device, pumping device, and you're pumping at too high of pressures and the vibrations actually mask the pain that you're having, the normal signal that says, hey, something is wrong, something is very wrong, that could lead to increased injuries right there. And my guy, Carl Wickman on Getting Bigger, primarily is one of the mods there. He actually mentioned this in one of the posts, but I certainly wanted to address it as well because that is a very real thing that they use in a lot of medical clinics. That also plays a role with what we're going to talk about next, which is basically increased vascular permeability, okay? And so what that means is the blood vessels can kind of almost relax, if you will, and allow more blood to escape through them. And with more blood, you can have more interstitial fluid, which can lead to more things like blisters. So you have a vacuum extender on with a vac cap, and you have your vibration device at the end of your extender, and that thing is vibrating. You have increased vascular permeability. That's going to increase your risk of blisters right there. And then on top of that, you're not going to be able to feel that normal sting that it says, oh gosh, I'm getting a blister because of that vibration. And so you're going to put yourself at increased risk there. So we're kind of jumping ahead to number two. A lot of this research you're going to have to extrapolate from. It's usually when it comes to vibration, they like basically put a rat on a vibrating plate or a rat tail on a vibrating plate. And it's typically experimenting for a long duration, like 4 hours, or it's in data of like guys that use like heavy construction equipment. Let's go right now. Let's go, baby. Okay. So that is not necessarily applicable to what we're doing, but guys, like this is the data we have and we're going to make use of what we have. But a lot of this data demonstrates that when you expose blood vessels to vibration, it can change the orientation of especially the endothelial cells and allow for more permeability or allow for more leaking that can cause one of two things. Number one is going to be petechaie. Guys, I've been doing this for 4 years. The first 2 times I used vibration, I immediately had petechaie. I had never had it before, and I was pumping to lower pressures. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Why am I getting this? The leaking leads to petechaie and, of course, edema, guys. One of the things that I personally have noticed is that my edema is at least, an additional third to like twice as bad as it normally would be. Significantly worse. And especially at lower pressures, to the point where like the only way that I use the vibration is I have to like dramatically decrease my set time to usually about like 2 to 3 minutes max now. And guys, here's like this weird rabbit ear study, which is they're somehow looking at like vocal cord edema, but basically what you can see is that in this study that the vibration leads to increased vessel permeability and increased edema. All right, guys, next we have to talk about the endothelial damage, okay? The endothelial cells are the cells that actually line your blood vessel, okay? They're incredibly important, especially when it comes to your penis. They're what are directly responsible for erections because they partially help to release things like nitric oxide as well, okay? But here, guys, here is a PDF. Just look at the title of this PDF, okay? Vibration injury damage arterial endothelial cells. Once again, this is putting a rat on a vibrating plate for 4 hours. So just take this with a big grain of salt because I'm sure like some of you guys are actually think that's a rat study and we can only conclude but so much. And yes, I'm doing my mocking voice, okay? Leave your angry. I hate when Hink does that mocking voice. Is that like not a fourth wall break, but I'm like using my mocking voice to mock people leaving angry comments about my mocking voice. I don't know. But guys, you can see that there are damage to those very important cells that are directly responsible for blood supply. Now, I would like to read a couple excerpts, okay, from some of the papers that I've come across. Here's one. Suggesting the potential to elicit endothelial shear stresses that are greater than observed during other types of movement or exercise. From this, a potential risk of damage to the vessel wall and endothelium may arise, possibly leading to inflammation, altered redox balance, and increased risk of undesired clotting and venous thrombosis, although the issue is largely unexplored. Once again, guys, I'm kind of picking and choosing. I would suggest you look at the references, many of which I'm going to include in this, read them yourself and form your own conclusions. But there's several studies here that are showing that too much vibration, it's unclear like how much is too much, at least as far as my research, can lead to that increased vascular permeability and damage to those endothelial cells. Guys, of course, that's why you need to protect your endothelial cells. If you were doing these enlargement exercises, of course, one of which is going to be our VIGOR, which is designed specifically to protect and enhance your endothelial cells and protect your blood vessels in your penis. Okay, guys, it's literally an Amazon Choice product, amazing ratings. Check it out. Links are in the description. And next, guys, we're going to talk about nerve function. Now, let me be very clear. In my prior video about vibration, I discussed how like a lot of these studies show that there's this basically nerve syndrome where you actually damage your nerves. And once again, it's largely construction equipment. Now, I will say that since using vibration, if I have noticed anything, it's almost that my sensitivity has actually improved. To be clear, I have not had a loss in sensitivity or loss of nerve function since I have been using this vibration device for about, let's just call it a month. Now, there is some theories behind this because just like you can see increased blood vessel permeability, some of these studies show that you can actually have increased blood flow. With increased blood flow, you can have more like healthier nerve function that way. And there's even some questionable evidence that like vibration therapy can help with nerve regeneration. They've been exploring it, especially in things like diabetic neuropathy or basically loss of nerve function from excessively high blood sugars. My nerve function has actually, I don't know if I'll say it's necessarily improved. I am, once again, guys, very worried about my nerve function with all of this. So I have been supplementing with my Shield formula that I specifically made to maximize nerve function. And so could that be playing a part of it? Yeah, absolutely it could. But most importantly, the way that I do vibration, I have not noticed a decrease in nerve sensitivity. All right, guys, like what has been my biggest gripe that is also very validating? I have yet to see anybody that has conclusive gains that are at least as ridiculous as some of these claims were initially said. Oh, in 90 days, you can get an inch both ways and things like that. I have not seen anything like that. Now, guys, there is a fantastic post by a guy named Goldmember on getting bigger for a while now. And like I've said, since he basically came onto the scene, he's basically been the gold standard of measurements. He does a very good job documenting. We had a bit of a falling out and it's kind of funny and I don't know, I don't blame him, but it's almost petty because he did have like what I would call the Hink, what was called the Hink method, where you basically insert your penis into a tube, inflate it using a certain set negative pressure, and you do that and you measure your progress, because by inflating it to basically, let's say -8 inches of mercury, which mimics your standard erection, you can actually have a more stabilized measurement that way. And he used to include those measurements, but ever since our falling out, he stopped doing that, and whatever, it's fine. You know, it's all good. I don't blame him. But regardless of how he feels about me, he does a great job. And he was experimenting with foul back. Guys, you should go check out his post on getting bigger. And so, guys, he started talking about the gain. So he used this foul back device, which is supposed to be the latest and greatest, you know, best thing. Oh my God, vibrations is going to change everything. Hink, you're such a petty hater. So in 3 months, he gained 1/16 of an inch in girth. Okay. Just for context, guys, that is literally the exact same amount that I tell people to expect to gain in girth in one year, okay? Total 1 year. And so in 1 year, I say you should expect a 1/4 inch of girth. If you divide 1/4 of an inch by 12, and then, so that's, what do you get, the per monthly average, and then multiply that times 3, you get exactly 1/16 of an inch in girth. So literally spot on with what I say you can get from normal PE. Then when it comes to length, he gained 1/5 of an inch in length. Now, if you multiply that out, it's basically 0.2 inches in 3 months. Whereas what I say, as far as lengthwise, what you expect to get is actually 0.12 inches. And so it is not double, but it is significantly higher than what I would tell you to expect over a 3-month period. But it's not that much higher, guys. And once again, especially when you're talking about measurement that small, that leaves a lot of room for error. So his measurements, his gains in that 3-month period are essentially what I would expect anybody doing any kind of PE to get over the span of 3 months. And guys, some of his conclusions are amazing. I want to read this section for you because I could not agree with it more. I'm going to read parts of this, okay? He says, am I sold on vibrations? I would say it's inconclusive and I need more data to be certain. Aside from Chad, I've seen no other significant gains from vibration protocol. I know the science supports vibrations, but so far I would say practical evidence of efficacy is lacking. And so guys, this is exactly my point. Personally, I haven't seen like what Chad has been doing. I know that there was a brief moment where he took a break and like went on vacation or something, and maybe he's back, and check out his gains. He does a great job too, guys. But my point is that there's been nobody that I've seen that I've been like, okay, damn, all right, I really need to be doing vibrations, especially with this documentation from this case right here. Guys, once again, just like he's saying, I'm not saying it doesn't work. What I'm saying is that, and personally, I don't feel the data supports it personally. And honestly, like one of the things that's messing with me right now, Carl Wickman, brilliant guy, guys. He puts so much like research and effort. But for me personally, I'm a very like simple-minded guy. Like I want things explained to me simply, and he does a brilliant job explaining. But like now we're having to talk about like, oh, well, you can use vibrations, but it has to be oriented in a certain way so that like the vibration waves attack the tuna. Like that's just too much for me, guys. Like and hopefully somebody far smarter than me, like Carl, maybe he'll work with foul back or whatever shit. Maybe he'll work with peak male physique and help us develop a device that does work on that criteria. I think it's a bunch of hype, guys. I think it's just, and I could be wrong, this video might age like milk, okay? But it's just like when there was PRP, and it's just like when there was heat pads, and it's just like when there's IR. It's like everybody is looking for the next latest and greatest thing. And that is one thing that Goldmember pointed out, and I do want to repeat that. So he says, right now, I think there's a bit of an arm race to prove which method works best. If I've learned anything these past 2 years is that they all work. Some may work faster, but there's no overnight recipe for gains. The shit takes time. Like exactly this. Bravo. Tip of the hat to you, Goldmember. Yes, this stuff works, but guys, at least so far, until they come out with an anti-lysyl oxidase injection into your penis, which, hey, if you haven't seen my video, you should check it out. There is no shortcut that is just going to get you 4 extra inches or an inch in 90 days or whatever outrageous claim it says. Okay, now this is limited data, guys, but once again, if something sounds too good to be true, guys, it probably is. So guys, those are my updated thoughts on vibrations. There is, in my opinion, an increased risk of danger, an increased risk of damage, and there is not the dramatic increase of reward. Now, I've only been doing this for a month, but I have seen no dramatic increases that I can speak to. Okay, inside the pump I get more edema, so it's a little bit bigger in the pump, but that is not translating for me personally for erect gains, and it's not translating, I mean, honestly, even to increased stretch flaccid length gains for me. As far as my flaccid size, it is bigger. I think that's a large part because I'm holding more edema, and so it's like heavier weight. It's kind of like bigger and thicker in my pants, but I think a lot of that is edema. And if I were to take more time off in between, I think a lot of that is just a temporary kind of bloat, if you will. I'm not crapping on anybody. I'm not crapping on anybody's products. Let me be very clear, guys. Vibrations could be the future. It really could. From what I'm seeing right now personally and what I'm experiencing and witnessing and seeing from other people, there's really not a lot of evidence to back that yet. Okay? Yet. So all you vibration, whatever you want to call it, go easy on me in the comments, okay? But once again, guys, if you want to like take deep dives into this vibration science, you should check out Carl Wickman's, check out his page on Reddit or his username on Getting Bigger. But once again, like until Carl puts up some, before and afters proving these methods, I don't know. I mean, it's all love, Carl, you know that, but it's easy to type up something that theoretically works, but it's harder to get that translated to actual real world gains. But anyways, guys, if you're using vibration, once again, please consider the safety stack to keep yourself safe. VIGOR for endothelial perfection and protection, okay, are shield to prevent nerve damage, and of course our safeguard to prevent fibrosis. Remember guys, there's nothing wrong with self-improvement. I'm all for that, but you are enough just as you are, okay? So please don't do anything risky just in an attempt to try to make something like your D bigger when you are good enough as it is. All right guys, and of course, if you are looking to get bigger and you want to have a guided one-on-one basically session with me, consider my course. The link is in the description below. All right guys, catch you in the next one. Peace and love.
Dr. Hink got the plug on the health, yeah. Got you thinking about your wealth.